All right, it's time for a new tourney journey. This is my journey. I'm Grant, of course. Jonathan is going to join me on the journey, talk about some of the plays I made. This is a tournament from Nitrogen Sports. It was a $125 buy-in at the time, although it's in Bitcoin, and this was a bit ago now, so would have been a much bigger buy-in at this point. But at the time, 125 bucks. This is actually a tournament, Jonathan, where I am not 100% proud of all of my decisions, so it's not going to be like a virtuous thing for me to show this to everybody. So I feel kind of weird about that.
It's better that way, that we did
Yeah.
that with one of mine where I was like, I really regret this one, I like keeps me up at night. Like those are good things to talk about anyway. And we're not perfect. We're not supposed to be. It's good.
All right. Well, let's start here. This is early on in the tournament. I have Queen Jack in the small blind, MK Ultra on my right. This is a very active player, as you will see throughout this tourney journey. I decide just to call here. What do you think, Jonathan? Do you prefer a 3-bet or call?
No, I'm not really into 3-betting in this spot, honestly. When we're 200 blinds deep, it's early on in the tournament. I just don't see any need to 3-bet. We're trying to pick up a very small pot by 3-betting. We're bloating a pot. We're often getting called and bloating the pot. I think we should just be calling a lot here. I like the
okay.
Call
Makes sense. And then the check call on the flop makes sense as well, right?
Of course.
Checking again, just hoping this guy bluffs, basically.
Yeah, a check back would be nice for you. Oh, it's cheap.
Can't
pretty much have to call,
especially against this player profile.
That's not great. But you have the Jack of Hearts.
Yeah, it's an interesting river card, right?
Let's see if he bets.
All right, let's have a thought here.
Yeah, pause it. Okay.
So it's about 24 minutes into the tournament. As you can see, this was at 12:24 p.m., started at noon. This guy's already triple barreled a couple times, to my recollection. So the question is this a good enough bluff catcher against his button opening range? Well, obviously a huge factor is that I have the Jack of Hearts. I could turn it into a bluff with the nut flush blocker.
That's what I was wondering, if it's better if it just plays better as a bluff. But you do, if you think he's triple barreling a lot, you have like a card. I don't think he's going to, if he has a king, he's probably not betting a king on the river anyway, right? It's probably just an ace or better.
And really depends on how good of an ace. I've already called twice and the hearts came in, right? Like the hearts should be a big fear of his, especially considering the sizing he chose on the flop and the turn. I could easily have hearts.
Absolutely. It's weird that he went small, big with this card coming. He's repping a pretty big hand, actually. So maybe you are good enough to just bluff catch because he's kind of polarizing himself with the size and with this river card.
That is the conclusion.
I don't think you should fold. I think you should raise or call.
Yeah, I was really debating that, and I ultimately did call. Yeah, I think I wasn't getting a raise through because
oh my gosh,
set of aces.
Yeah, well, he was repping a big hand and he had a big hand. Fair enough. Fair enough. That was one of those where if you had 3-bet pre, maybe you would have gotten away from it right away. But whatever. Save your chips in the end. Hey, same kind of hand as last time.
PDX Liz is a player that we've seen before on Tourney Journey. She's an aggressive player, takes a lot of shots. So I've called out of the big blind here. This is pretty mandatory to continue.
Look at the sizing.
Yeah, that's one of her attributes as well. She sizes big. Now, this is a bad turn card, obviously.
Yeah, let's see if she bets again and how she sizes. She's likes a double barrel at least, but she checks it back. She usually doesn't have that many like king, queen with the king of hearts or queen of hearts here, but she can definitely have you beat. Yeah. I like the check, but
shows the two fours with the 4 hearts. Would you play that any differently throughout?
No.
I
would do exactly as you did. It's call, check. You don't want to bluff the river. You're going to win too much by just checking, right?
Yep. So that's a rough start for me, starting with 20K. We're up to 200, 400 now, and I'm in the big blind against the aggressive MK Ultra, who has a lot of chips now. I flop top pair.
MK Ultra is such a cool name.
Little protection bet here.
Of course. You're probably going to bet a lot on these kinds of boards once he checks to you, or almost any board probably.
And here we go. This is the aggressive player. He's 4x to my bet. There's no folding here, right?
Of course not. There's no folding against almost any player anyway in this spot, except some very tight players against a guy who you say is like really liable not to have it. blind versus blind. Are you kidding? We're never folding. The fact we have the 5 of diamonds is a little weird
Yeah,
because it
not
like
ideal.
blocks all the draws, but it may bail you out at some point. It may give you more equity on the turn, and who cares? We have top pair, and this guy's aggressive, and we're deep. We have to call this.
I also do believe he has random bluff combos in his range based on
Yeah,
what I've seen so far. So he doesn't have to have like a coordinated semi-bluff type thing.
I mean, honestly, tell me if I'm wrong, but like you're probably min betting the flop a lot.
Yep.
No matter what you have in that spot, right? So like him check raising there might be a profitable play, but just it can't be this time. Wow, this tiny bet. If I hadn't seen him do this last time with the top set of aces, I would think we were in great shape against him. Now I don't know where we are.
Let's think of a couple factors here. One is that he limped pre-flop. That makes it a lot less likely that he has an ace, especially considering my stack starting the hand. So I'm not super concerned about an ace. 3-5 is possible, but I block that obviously. So that's good.
You also you pick up a gut shot. He sizes less than the raise, so it feels like he's saying he has like a 4 or a 7 or something like that. You know, a pair, but it doesn't have to be strong. But I mean, I don't think you should be folding ever on this card against almost anyone in the world. So
he could also have a flush draw still if we're going to give him reasonable bluffs and not just combos that are like the unreasonable bluffs. He also could easily have a flush draw and want to just like charge himself a small amount to get to the river and doesn't think he has enough fold equity maybe to bet bigger. Not sure.
He could also just have a 4 and be betting anyway, you know, to try and deny you equity for your draws and stuff.
I mean, I think that would be an awful way to play a 4, but I suppose it is possible. We are playing online poker.
People do that a lot.
Okay, well, I'm definitely not folding here, but raising seems out of the question too.
Will you have a tough decision on the river?
Yes, I will. The king of spades comes
big?
half pot. All right.
Huh.
So I think my button clicker down there already went to call. I think I snap called this. And I think I really like the idea of snap calling it because I don't put him on an ace too frequently. I block 3-5. Yeah. I don't put him on pocket pairs that are sets. I block top pair, meaning it's less likely that he has 2 pair. So I feel like I block everything that I want to block, and the action of the hand blocks everything else that I don't block, which makes me feel like even though this is a pretty bad hand, it's actually one of the better hands I show up with, and I think I need to call against this player. What do you think?
That all makes sense. I mean, the 5 of diamonds is kind of a bad card to have in your hand. It's like one of the worst cards you can have. You block 5-6, you block diamonds. But
I also block 3-5, which is good.
That's good. It's true. It's nice to block 3-5. He could also have other hands. He could have like ace-3, have check raise the flop with ace-3 with the gutter, and
I'm just less likely to put him on an ace because of pre-flop.
Yeah, I understand, but people sometimes will limp a bad ace in this spot when you're deep. That said, again, you're based on everything you're saying about this guy that he's triple barrel-y and he bluffs a lot. This run out has been very rough for him unless he flopped really big or he got there, right? I mean, so I understand wanting to call. I think it's close because you have the 5 of diamonds in your hand, but I think you're probably feeling towards the call with top pair. With top pair on the flop anyway, and then the ace and the king shouldn't matter very often.
I agree. Well, you're going to see his hand, and my question to you is, if it's value, is it an incredibly good play? And if it's a bluff, is it an incredibly bad play?
He has it better.
It's king 8 of diamonds.
He had the king. I think it's okay as value. Actually, I was wondering if he could have turned like river to king with a flush draw. I was thinking about that actually at one point.
I agree. I think it's actually a really good play if he was if his intent was value. But if his intent was to bluff, then it's like a bad play, right?
Well,
it's all about
he's trying to bluff. It's crazy to try and bluff you off an ace. Like that'd be insane. So I hope that wasn't his intention. That's all I can say.
Well, if it was value, it was very impressive, and I've had a very bad start to this tournament. I am down.
Yeah, you're screwed.
21 blinds.
I see what you're saying. You have all these regrets. Hey, this is a good setup for you.
I don't think I played anything so poorly so far, but
no,
you're
doing fine.
Yeah, this is a pretty obvious one.
But some close decisions anyway so far. Yeah, is he going to get called? I guess, right? Yeah. And I'm guessing you're going to win. Otherwise, this tourney journey is going to be really quick. We're after river.
Well, there are rebuys. It is the rebuy period.
Oh, but you rebuy. It turns out. It's rebuy anyway. You're right.
And I'm
All
almost
right.
back up to starting stack, and then a couple more things happen, and here we are at starting stack. And we're
Okay.
going to fight against MK Ultra again. I thought about three
Cool.
betting there.
Cool.
I think you could see.
Yeah.
I decided just to flat, take the value of my hand to the flop.
Once the antes kick in, I think three betting is a lot better. Although three
Yeah.
betting now, at least the blinds are a little bit bigger now, so it's better. So three betting has more value than it did. Also, you put them on notice a little bit to not just like raise every button, but whatever.
All right. So I remember my thought process here. So I'm going to go through it. I
Yeah.
think when I flat out of the small blind, I give up a lot of post flop edge, but I think on boards like this, I need to find bluffing combos because this player c bets so frequently, and
Mhm.
I need to find a few extra that aren't just like pure semi bluffs that are pretty good hands. So I think this is actually an excellent bluffing combo. I block Jack Queen, I block King Queen, and I block the King of Clubs for hands that he can continue with. So I
Yep.
decided that this was a good bluffing combo. What do you think about that logic?
I like that logic. You also have two back doors, so you're gonna, even if when called on the flop, you're gonna turn enough equity enough of the time that you'll be able to keep barreling profitably. Like I think this is one of those spots where if you check raise, get called, and turn like the three of hearts, you should probably be giving up a lot. But if you turn a 10 or a club, even a 9, I think you, I mean, even or maybe even an ace. Yeah, I think you have actually probably more aces than he does. I think you can continue. So that's pretty good. A king also, of course, you can continue with. So anyway, so I like your logic.
All right. Well, I follow through. I pull the trigger.
Go all in, MK Ultra. Just punish him. Yes, I called it.
Yep. So I feel like that was
didn't
a
work.
well thought out bluff with the correct type of combo that just ended in a very bad thing. And MK
Yeah,
Ultra continued to own me in that hand.
yeah, I see that. Hey, here's a great time for him to raise,
Yep.
and he's thinking really hard. A
Maybe
lot
he's
of thought.
eating a
There it
burrito.
is. Oh, different sizing. That's odd. I mean,
It is odd.
whatever.
Of course, I'm going with it with 40
Yeah.
blinds, this dynamic.
Hell yeah.
But he just calls. Would have been happy to go with it. Get the queen high flop. What do you think? What is the best course of action on the queen high flop in
I
this
think you
spot?
should bet. I think you should bet and bet small. And then you could check call the most turns and looking to get it in.
And if I
Um,
get shoved on, just call it off on the
yeah,
flop?
absolutely. Yeah, just call it off. Your stack to pot ratio is such that, I mean, your hand is way too good to
Yeah.
like he could have a hand like pocket eights, for example, if he decided not to four bet you. Feels like this is a safe-ish flop, safe enough flop to just move you in to get you off your like ace jacks and ace kings and stuff like that. I don't think you could ever fold this hand when you're have what one and a third pot back. That seems
Yeah,
crazy to me.
I agree. I think I went small, but I can't remember. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see like 2200 or something, 2400. Hey, that's close enough.
28.
2800. If he shoves, we call. If he calls, we can check jam turn or bet turn depending on how we what comes. But
Yeah, and
yeah,
I'm despite all of the bad things that have happened, I'm over starting stack with that hand.
just because you rivered that ace,
I don't
because
deserve
you
it.
got
I mean,
lucky.
I don't deserve it. I'm not saying I deserve it.
Good. It's important to keep you humble.
Yes. All right, this is a pretty clear call three
Yeah,
ways here.
for sure. Cool flop.
Good. Interesting flop. And the flop is, I think I remember debating what to do on this flop because Satoshi over there, 492, I think is a pretty aggressive player
Mm-hmm.
who has some decent tournament chops. I think we're going to see a C bet here. And I was debating whether or not to raise. I was definitely
Yeah.
calling, but I'm wondering if this is a good semi bluff combo, even though we have showdown value. What do you think?
Um, it's close. I think the reason to raise is as much about like anytime you improve, it's hard to get more action. So like so your implied odds aren't super great with this. I guess if you hit a 7, maybe you can get a little more action, but like a 9 or a 10, you're just not getting anymore. Anyway, you can fold out better hands. Like you can probably fold out an 8 at least some of the time. Maybe not right now. Sometimes maybe right now, but also by the turn, with another barrel if you raise. I also hate the idea of like giving a free card, which if we call, Satoshi can just check back the turn and get a free card. The board is wet and it's probably going to get wetter. I think a raise is pretty good here, but I don't hate a call either, quite frankly. If you think Satoshi's extra aggressive, I kind of like a raise better in this case because there's going to be so many rough turns and rivers for us that we may have to find bad folds on, you know? So I think I like the raise.
So kind of like a semi-bluff / equity denial thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember what I did, but I think if I call, it's because of the showdown value and expecting further bets. And that is a call.
It's understandable.
Not a
this
good
is
turn
the problem.
card. Yeah.
So many bad cards on the turn, like 9s, 10. Not a 10 isn't bad for you, but a 9 is bad. A club is bad. Any overcard is bad. Yeah, look at this. The board got really ugly. It's nice that Satoshi checked back, but that king is just terrible.
It is.
Satoshi rarely has clubs. There's
right.
that.
All right. So
I mean, it feels like
should I consider heroing here? I mean, obviously this is not high enough in my distribution to hero, but is the story adding up for Satoshi?
I think based on the sizing, Satoshi absolutely could have rivered a king here. I don't think you should hero here. I think it's a mistake to hero here.
I hope I didn't. I don't remember.
I think a fold is probably the best play. I think you could actually decide to raise because Satoshi doesn't have that many club combos by checking back the turn when the queen comes. Like that's a reasonable bluffing card for Satoshi. Also, I'm going to make some like gutters and stuff like that with clubs that Satoshi would continue with. So I think I like just folding mostly, but like I think a raise has got to be the second best option, better than a call.
Looks like I went for the fold.
Yeah,
I think that's the right decision.
Yeah, Satoshi has some 2 pairs there for like kings up hands there, king jack stuff like that. Hey, I know what's going to happen here. We're going to raise it up again.
Yeah, usually
like 3xing.
Usually 3xing in position, but against this player, I think he doesn't have as many folds, so I want to get value.
Whoa.
But hey, got shoved on.
10s? Show me 10s. Oh, okay.
Ace queen. And we flop top set, so doing all right.
Yeah, I think you're in okay shape here. If you just could have hit a 10 on the ocean, you'd be gone.
All of a sudden, look at this. I got 42K, built a stack, and I have aces. Things change fast. It was down to 8K early on.
Super weird how that happens in poker so often. You can just be like, you can play a poker tournament where you play for hours and hours and hours, just getting ground to nothing, and then you get on a little hot streak, and suddenly you have all the chips.
And check this out. +1 just 3-bet me when I have aces. What a deal! Yeah. Obviously, I'm just gonna hope they have what they're repping and put in another raise.
Yeah. Now, how much are you going to make it here? So that's a weird. It's basically just moving the person in, right?
Yeah, I know. It's
55% of their stack.
I don't know what else. Like you could just move in, I guess, but what difference does it make?
Moving in looks weaker. That's the thing.
Well, either way,
when they have queens, it's all the same when they have queens.
They usually have a really strong hand when they're +1 anyway, right?
Of course. I would just hate to see them find a fold because you did that like weird click back thing, which a lot of players probably aren't going to notice but like some people are gonna be like, whoa, like to me, that just screams strength that you didn't move in, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe so. Anyway, here we are against Pathogen.
Pretty good.
Decent flop out of the big blind. I just flat out of the big blind. Pathogen is a player we know. She's got, this is Jen.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
She's going to have a slightly tighter button opening range, so I didn't feel like it was as good to 3-bet the 10s out of the big blind. I also want to protect my big blind calling range. Of course, it would have been fine to 3-bet and essentially go with it, but I want to sometimes flat here, especially against players that I'm going to play against frequently in my life, you know?
She's also not the type who's going to 4-bet you light almost ever. So like, you're not going to be able to like 3-bet and get it in really great with your 10s. Like maybe she'll get like she'll have 9s and go with it. But it's usually a flip where you're crushed if she's going to, when you're calling all in there for the 4-bet, which is not great. It's okay with 10s for value, but I think you should be calling here a fair amount with 10s.
All right. What about
I'm a big fan of like calling in the big blind. Okay. I think it's a pretty clear call.
Yeah, but I mean, do block the nuts. Could raise as like a semi-bluff, but that doesn't make much sense with an overpair to the board. So I think
your hand is too good.
Yeah.
Like if we're raising, we have to be raising for value or to deny equity. We can't raise as as a bluff. That's crazy. Right. We're not trying to fold out a better hand.
I agree.
I think the only reason to raise is because a 9 or a 10 kills a lot of action. Here you could decide to lead.
I mean, it's weird to rep an 8 when I have a pretty good hand anyway, right?
It's just about the equity denial thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because she's always checking back the unless she has an 8 or a straight or something. She's just checking that back. That's the reason to lead, not about anything else. You don't have to lead
Well,
big even, but you lead to make sure that like she doesn't get a free card. Now you ended up rivering a 9, so who cares? But like an ace on the river would be kind of a disaster. That's all. Anyway, here we
true.
are.
I don't really love that idea in general, but when that card is just generally something that can hurt me in a lot of ways. But here we are on the river. Time to go for value or try to induce a bluff by checking. What do you think's better?
I think you're not going to get chips no matter what you do against this player. I got to tell you, I think she's checking back if you check, unless she has a 5, or she's folding if you bet, unless she has a 5. Either way, a 5 you're going to get chips, and anything worse than a 5, I just don't think you're getting chips against this player. So it's fine to bet. You might as well bet small and try and get something out of it. Yeah, I don't think it's going to work. He's thinking maybe she has a big over. Does she have kings or something? What the hell? Does she have pocket 9s?
Yeah, so she raised. This is not something that I enjoy, but when she doesn't bet the turn, it feels like she doesn't have a full house too often, unless, like you said, it's pocket 9s.
You're only losing to pocket 9s, jack 10, which you block, and then I guess quad 8s once in a while. I mean, there's stuff like that, but I think you have to call. This hand's way too good. Way too good.
Yeah.
We block jack 10.
Looks like I'm going to type something, try to see if she responds.
You don't have much time.
Well, I have a time bank after that. See, more time.
Oh yeah.
I request more time.
Let's see what you really 7-7. Jen did not check raise grant PDX.
No. She says, "No, I'm in position." Oh, that was not replying to me.
Oh, okay. Right. I thought she was too. I was like, boy, that scares me if she was replying to you, but not replying to you. You just have to call with this hand.
I think so too, but
take your medicine.
Look, I'm about to fold. It just looks. No, I switched to call.
Is it 9?
And it's a chop.
It's ace 10, yeah.
I thought that was kind of a weird one, you know?
Yep. That was a little bit weird.
Another orbit later. Same player. Tighter player. Really makes me not love ace 3 off, but feel obligated to call to the big blind.
I mean, I like the idea of raising with a bad ace against her sometimes.
Yeah, because you can easily fold to a 4-bet. She checks back quickly. I get the 3, which makes me think I'm very likely to be ahead.
Yeah, I think usually you are.
All right, I bet small. Equity denial mostly, and she calls. So mostly she has some sort of ace high, right?
Yeah, you should bet the river against her. I've seen her station with this kind of a spot.
Yeah, she tends to when she respects a player, I think I've seen in the past, she tends to think they're trying to push her around a little bit. So yeah, I think I can try to get some value.
Squeeze some value. Yeah, we're both completely on the same side here. Yeah. I see you. You're like, how much to make it to get ace queen to call?
Yeah.
How can I get ace jack to call me here? It's really ace jack, right?
Get called by the 7. She rivered
the 7.
Oh,
well, it doesn't matter. She was probably going to bet if you checked anyway. Maybe. I don't know. That's a good bet. You have to make that bet.
All right, here's Costco. Costco is another very aggressive player, as you see. Accumulated a lot of chips. Has almost 200 big blinds to start this hand.
You went pretty big here with this 3-bet, dude.
Yes.
Size it up.
So Costco never ever folded once Costco put chips in the pot pre-flop. Never once did I see it. So I was like, anytime I have it, I am 3-betting pretty big against this player. So that was the plan.
Cool.
Get the call. Get the terrible flop.
Yeah, that's not good.
Gonna have to see bet small, right? Though it's just too valuable of a pot.
Yeah, sure. I mean, is Costco really going to call you with King Jack?
Oh, I got called by something. Hey,
well, that's a good
turn the ace.
I mean, you're pretty much always ahead here, right? I guess Costco could have like ace 9 suited or ace 8 suited, but whatever.
I think it's worth a small bet here for value.
Yep.
And that is what I do.
I mean, you're going to rep that ace if you don't have, if you have king queen, you're betting this turn, right?
Yeah.
You would have gone bet. So you should definitely bet it when you have a hand this
All
good.
right,
And
I
I think
get
you should definitely
called.
bet the river.
Jack 10 got there, which is not
I
ideal.
know.
But
Whatever.
I tend to agree I should bet the river. Probably not an all in though, even though it's about a pot
No.
size bet, right?
No,
Probably
no, no.
something along the
10.
lines of like 9K or 10K.
Yeah, I was thinking 10K. Nice and small and callable. And if like ace 10 is just going to call you here, you know?
All right, I do get the
I
check.
I thought Costco was going to suddenly lead. I was like, oh no, Jack 10. Yeah.
All right, let's see how I size it here. Looks like I'm going to bet. I wonder. Oh, I go big.
That
I
feels
guess
too
I'm
much.
really trying to sell the bluff or something. But I agree, that's probably too much.
Yeah. I think you're just trying to get called by, just price them in.
This is the very next hand.
Okay.
King 9 of hearts in the cutoff.
I sense a min raise coming.
Yep. Got over 100 bigs. Obviously, this is a playable hand in this position.
Oh my God, yes. Monster flop. You got 2 backdoors and an over.
It's not so bad. It's definitely a C bet, right?
Yeah, super dry board with just one big card. That's going to miss Liz a lot.
Get called. Liz tends to be
Yep.
sticky on flops, though, so I might have more barrels in me. I'm not sure.
Huh. I think I like a check here rather than a bet.
I do check it right back. Ooh, but I get the ace.
Hey, look at that.
Looks like I should really
again,
be
Liz.
bluffing.
Yeah. Well, you just sized it up last time and you didn't have, and you really had it. Might as well size it up again. 2/3 pot? Yeah, about 2/3.
Sized it up pretty
like
pretty decent, and she folded quickly. So must not have had a queen if she folded that quick.
Probably not. But she was probably calling your turn bet a lot, honestly.
Got king queen here under the gun. Costco has chipped up since that ace king hand against me. Back to having a massive stack.
Pretty good flop.
Don't love the paired tens. This board is kind of Costco's board, but I think I have enough equity and I want him to fold. So
you have really good equity. Any paint card or a diamond is really good for you. And there's your paint. So now, are you going to just check like a little baby? Yeah.
I did check like little baby.
What a river card.
Pretty good card,
Amazing river card. Costco lead one time. One time in your life. There it is. Oh, we're
obviously
gonna have to raise this
a
one,
raise
Grant.
is coming, but I don't expect to get called.
No, but
not usually.
You know, the check back may confuse Costco here. I think you should go even bigger. Costco has a 10 in his calling. You can probably get another 4,000 chips out of him.
Well, he snap folded.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the expectation there.
Of course. Of course.
And once again, this is the very next hand. Same hand. King, queen again.
Just like on fire pre-flop right now.
You know these are selected hands.
No, I don't know anything.
Get the
so
limp.
We're going to go like 3.3x or something.
Looks like we're starting with... Bigger. Yep.
Almost 4x.
Almost 4x. Get called. Ace high flop. We're going to have to c-bet this.
Obviously. Super small.
I would guess. Yeah, 1,800.
Cool. I assume we're getting called because you selected it. All right, now it gets fun.
Yeah, do we go for it? Are you going
to fire again or not? I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's close. You could, I think not always, but sometimes. You know,
it depends.
I probably, yeah.
To me, it really depends on the stickiness of the player. If they're super sticky, I think it's a check back, even though it's a really good line to keep firing. If they're not way too sticky, I think I need to fire again and fire relatively big because they don't have nearly as many aces in their range as I do. They usually were holding on with a 5 or a 7 on the flop. So
sure,
I think it's worth a shot.
Costco has a lot of chips, so it's a little easier for Costco to decide to stick around and make these stickier plays. But I don't know if Costco is actually sticky post flop. You know,
I don't remember either.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's find out what I do.
Looks like you're betting. Oh, wow. Jeez.
Just
you're cleaning up the equity. Oh.
Got called real fast in the 5 pairs.
Real bad river. Yeah. What story can we tell now? Pocket aces, pocket 7s, ace 5. That's 7-5 suited. That's the only story we can tell.
There's that. Also, I 3-barreled before when I had it with the ace king. Maybe Costco's a little fed up with me. Maybe I shouldn't go for it because Costco might be more willing to look me up with a 7 because of that.
I think you should take the L here and just check it back.
I think that's right. And hey, look at that. I did it. And he had
Wow, pocket
threes.
threes.
I wonder if
That
I
is
would have gotten through.
I think it would have. I think it would have gotten through that one. But wow, that's crazy. This is the very next hand.
Yep. So that was supposed to work on the turn against pocket
Yep.
threes.
And you size it up and it still didn't work. Okay, now we know a lot more about Costco.
Looks like I'm
So you're
sizing.
going to make
Ooh,
it
I
like
call.
8,000. Whoa.
I think I know why this
Whoa.
is. Chisago in the big blind had squeezed multiple times.
Oh,
So
cool.
I think I was hoping for the squeeze and didn't get it. Got the call instead.
Okay.
Two overs and a gut shot. Not terrible.
Just a little bit too good to fold if this isn't a huge bet.
I agree. It's half
We
pot.
got to call it. Just got to call it.
So.
Sucks to be out of position, but he's going to rep your aces and kings when they come in anyway, right?
Yep.
They come in on the turn. That's
not a great turn card.
We're really rooting for we block the nuts, but come on. He checks it back.
Checks
That's
back.
Good. You have the best hands a fair amount here.
Sometimes. I mean, that board looks like it hits literally everything. It just feels like it. It's got ace jack.
Checks it again on the river. Does not go for value on the river. I am shocked. Shocked, I say. Wow, you're really trying to set up Chisago here, huh?
Yeah, I was.
Clearly you're trying to set up whatever.
Chisago. You can do it.
Chisago. I got that.
All right. So on that flop,
I like that.
I checked back. You like that? Yeah, I think it's the best way to. The 10 is not a great card. Costco might play 2 10s like this. It's not an ideal card overall.
I mean, you pick up a straight draw. It's fine. You don't have to worry about the king coming in or a queen coming in. You know, like, it's a clear call.
Yeah.
You're definitely losing to trip aces sometimes and full houses sometimes right now, but it's still a clear call. And there you go.
The queen of diamonds. That's a good card.
And he checks. I hope he check raises you because that will be an interesting decision.
I don't know I don't think he does. I'm going to guess he doesn't. Okay. But how do you think I should size? I don't know what I did.
So there's 13,000 in the pot. The problem is the diamond comes in. So even if he has trip aces, he's going to be a little afraid of the diamonds and the straights. If he has a king, though, he has to call almost any amount, right?
Yeah.
If he has trip aces, I think you should size it kind of big because he's going to call you just a lot with trip aces and with kings. We saw him with pocket threes, that other hand, right? He's a sticky player. Size that shit up. 10 to 11,000, something like that.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see what we do.
Yeah.
Close.
Right. Yeah.
Pretty sizable.
I said 10.
Called.
I mean, 10 was...
Don't know what he had, but
he's like, why did I check the flop? But you weren't going to fold the flop anyway. I guess maybe if you're probably going to call the turn too.
All right, got the nice suited connectors on the button here. Got 2 clubs on the flop. Pretty good flop.
What's it like to run like Grant? Everyone wants to know because no one ever has except for you.
Okay.
Flop like a god every time.
Check back the turn, get the flush.
Sure. This all makes sense. All right, how are you going to size this? So he just has like ace high here or something?
Maybe a 5. No, not a 5. He called the flop.
No, he called on the flop.
So you could have a queen.
He usually is betting a queen on the river, right? Usually.
When the clubs come in?
He is not going to put... I mean, you don't have clubs very often.
All right.
You
play it out with me.
Check the turn.
Play it out with me. If he has queen 10, what's he betting to get called by?
That is not my point. My point is I know who this guy is, and so do you. He's usually betting a queen on the river.
Okay, fair enough.
You're right, of course. I think it's a mistake to bet a bad queen on the... Maybe ace queen you could bet, and that would be it. But I think he's betting a queen. All queens. Raise and Brian. You have to call if Brian raises you. You know that, right? No matter how much.
Well, I can't go back in time and change it if he does and I fold.
I'm just letting you know if he shoves on you, you got to call this.
He just calls, and that's obviously a win for me.
Yeah, you just run like Mercury, the Flash over there.
Okay, good point.
It's just so easy.
All right, here we are with ace jack. I think I remember I included this hand to show Costco's potential state of mind heading into the next hand, actually.
Oh,
even though I am involved in this.
The only 3-bet we've seen anyone do to you, now I know this is selected, but is the time when you had aces.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So you're saying I'm not actually a good player, I just run good? That's what you're trying to imply?
I'm saying no one could know if you were good or not. All you ever do is have it. Hey, that's a terrible river card once they
Yeah.
both call. You're praying
All
for a
right.
check.
So check this out. Costco bet the turn and now bets pot on the
Whoa.
river. I
What?
fold. Gonna get looked
This
up.
calls.
Gonna show the queen. All right. So
Whoa.
I included that because this is the very next hand. And I think Costco might be a little
Okay.
tilty and obviously is kind of willing to go with stuff.
Pot size bet on the river as a bluff. Okay.
Yep.
Here
So
we go.
now we get the limp. I
Here
have
comes
over
the
100
raise.
bigs.
Yep.
Yep. And watch this.
Cool.
And tell me what you would
He's just
do.
going to shove. Is Costco shoving?
Not exactly.
Oh.
24,000.
I just want to move in. I don't want to
Yeah.
call and get cute.
I mean, obviously, it's not generally profitable to get well over 100 bigs in with ace king pre-flop, but
it can't be profitable flat here for 30% of your stack where you may have to fold on a lot of flops, like with ace king. Like you just gotta shove. Also, this is great. Like the ranges are so good here. Blind versus blind. Like you're just crushing his range.
And
he's
it's
gonna
the
fold
player
a lot, but that's okay.
Yeah, I would love the free 24,800. And this is a player who just bluffed pot on the river and might just be steaming out of his mind. So yeah, I think a shove is the play. I know that's
if you were
what
a lot
I do.
deeper. If you were a lot deeper, if you had like 200 blinds deep, you could actually like click it back and try to induce, I guess. But
and I get snap called by kings.
Wow, and he flops a king.
And this is going to be the end of my tourney journey, Jonathan.
No, Grant.
It's over.
So fast. Well,
yeah,
whatever. That's just unlucky, obviously.
Yeah, so I ended up going out fifth. I believe 3 people got paid. Kind of sucks when there was.
You should have mentioned that we were like close to the bubble and stuff, as all that would have upped the drama even more.
But, yeah, I mean, there's only one player who's likely to go out soon, which was PDX Bryce Archie there with 13K. Everybody else pretty deep. So
yeah, I mean, whatever. That's a hand. You even got to be the guy moving in and not calling. I mean,
yeah,
I think you should be the guy calling too. If he like moved in on you, like you make it whatever 2,800, and he just shoves for 100K, you just call anyway with that hand in that spot. But yeah. But you even got to be the guy moving in with the fold equity. That's even better.
And the first 2 tourney journeys, we both had decent scores, and we promised there would be pain in the future, and there has been with you bubbling the last tourney journey and this for me. So yeah, we'll bring you the pain.
Yeah. You're almost bubbling it when you were the clear. I guess you were third in chips, but pretty big sizable difference between you and the 2 shorter stacks too.
Yep.
So that's gotta hurt just your heart a little bit.
And we were so deep, I had a lot of room to maneuver.
Well, you know how much like first place was in this tournament?
I think it was something like at the time the equivalent of $2,300, something like that.
So not too shabby.
Yeah.
Like for $125 buy-in that took probably like 3.5 hours. That's pretty good. Almost. Well, that sucks. You ran good for a while though, but then this is a really unlucky spot, obviously. Yeah. The good news is you could always say to yourself, no matter how you guys play this, you're always going to end up getting it in probably on the flop. Like whatever level of action happens pre-flop, like the king high board, like probably you're going to end up getting it in.
Well, I mean, it's really based on his sizing, right? We didn't have to end up all in if he had just, sized it a little differently, but nothing I could do about that.
I mean, if he sizes it smaller, are you not going to re-raise?
I might. You're right.
I mean, he makes it 10K. You're just going to call. That seems crazy.
Yeah, I'll probably erase. You're right.
Like, what a hand to have. Ace King's such a jewel.
I don't know what happens if he makes it 9K and I make it 24K, and then he makes it like 55K. Can I consider folding then?
I guess you can consider folding then, yeah. But I'd be really worried that we're dominating him a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, I mean, look, if this was like a 100K buy-in and we're right on the bubble, I would say, yeah, you should probably fold there. But like, it's a $125 tournament. You're on the bubble. I say, we got Ace King. This is amazing. Blind versus blind.
That's never an argument with utility for a poker channel. Just so you know.
I'm just saying though, like if you're asking about like, should we fold a hand as good as Ace King in a blind versus blind against a guy who might be steamy, the only time you should ever even consider it is when the money is like insanely big. coming up really soon. That's the only time to even think about it. For you, for anyone, whoever that would be. Like my friend Matt Matros, who is your friend too, triple bracelet winner, massively successful poker player. When they did the first $1 million one drop back in the day, so $1 million buy-in, the bubble was literally $1.1 million. I asked him what he would do with aces on the bubble if someone shoved and had him covered, and he said I would fold them without even thinking about it. He said very, very comfortable saying that, because that money was worth, he was like, well, I would absolutely fold aces. Like, it's not worth the 15% of the time he gets knocked out or whatever it would be, right? So I think that's the only reason to do anything different with this hand.
Yeah, just felt like needed a post-mortem on it anyway, because it did make me lose with 5 left and over 100 bigs.
Yeah, it is a little sad.
Well, hopefully in the future, we can have some happy tourney journeys.
Maybe
bring back the joy.
It's not impossible.
Well, until next time.
Final table. Yeah.
Yeah. Until next time, more tourney journey coming.